This podcast is sponsored by Tusk, an open source non-ICO crypto project powered by community. Check them out on the web at tusk.network. That's TUSC.network. The Rob McNealy program is the nexus of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and entrepreneurship. Now, welcome to the program. Hey folks, Rob McNealy here, and today I am super excited. We are talking to David Liebowitz. He is the Vice President of Business Development for Everipedia. And Everipedia is this new online, not so new anymore, but it's an online encyclopedia similar to Wikipedia, but it's built on blockchain. And that's what really gets me excited about that kind of new application. So David, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Rob. Really excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you here too, because I've been a big fan of your project now. And tell me a little bit. Let's go. I always like to back it up.
Yeah.
Who are you? And I'm not going to ask you, how did you get into Bitcoin, but how did you get into tech?
How did I get into tech? It happened really by accident, really very naturally. So I'm originally from New Jersey, grew up in the Northeast, went to school in Massachusetts, and I've always been a writer. I got really good at writing in college, and that's what originally led me to Everipedia. So, I wrote different blogs. I've always been on the internet and stuff. And then when Everipedia kind of came out to me out of nowhere, and I just started writing Everipedia pages, the encyclopedia entries on Everipedia. So I write about, current events, I would call them evergreen pages. So I wrote a lot of about up and coming musicians I liked. And I was doing a good enough of a job. They're like, hey, why don't you move out to LA? I'm like, sure. So 4 years ago, I bought a one-way ticket to LA, just sent it in September 2016. And I was there for 4 years. I was just a writer. I was just making pages nonstop. We all lived in this apartment in LA outside of UCLA. It was really like the Facebook movie. How everybody was living in that house? It was like that, right, in an apartment. The living room was the office. And then we kind of got pulled into crypto. We saw this opportunity in 2017, 2018. Ethereum was getting hot. Smart contracts were getting interest, and we're like, hey, why don't we make a decentralized, transparent, immutable version of an encyclopedia if we want to really be a next generation encyclopedia? So I kind of hung around for the ride as we raised money. We got a new office, and as Everipedia grew, I grew along with it. And so I was, I've always been a social person. I've really, love talking to people, meeting people. We only met on Saturday or Sunday, it's Friday on Twitter, and then we went shooting the other day, and it was a lot of fun. So I've always been a networker like that. And so, I slowly got into more business stuff, first partnerships, then exchanges. I got partnerships with anybody ranging from Brave browser to a few years ago, I got partnership with the biggest DJ in the world, Excision. And so I've always been really good at that. And then, got to work on exchanges, and now I'm doing PR. And it was really I feel like it just happened so fast from being just an executive editor to being vice president of business development. So it happened very naturally and very fast. And that's how I got involved in tech.
So of all those functions that you've been doing, all those different kind of roles that you've been growing into, which was your favorite so far, and which was your least favorite so far?
My favorite, I think, has to do with PR, because I love telling stories, and with PR, you're really telling the narrative of Everipedia and what we're doing. And, so that's been my favorite so far. Partnerships is up there too. Partnerships is, what I love about partnerships, it's a lot of work, but it pays off so much in the end. It takes, time and patience, and, it's the same thing. You're trying to construct a narrative. So, how is this partnership, mutually beneficial to, who you want to work with, and to, who I work with, the Everipedia. So, that's definitely up there too. And when you get the partnership, I remember when we got the Brave browser partnership, I was in Las Vegas at Blockchain Week, and it was just it was definitely one of the crowning achievements of my career so far. And then probably my least favorite, I still like it though, is dealing with exchanges and stuff, just because, it's just, you have a cryptocurrency, you understand what it's like to deal with exchanges and whatnot. But, I actually, even though it's my least favorite, I got a ton of experience from there between, dealing with people, negotiating, standing your ground, knowing your worth. So even though, you learn a lot dealing with exchanges.
Yeah. And you and I talked a little bit offline about that, the trials of tribulation. And, one of the things that I thought is interesting about crypto is that, I've been in business a long time. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and it's like dealing with crypto, it's like different than a normal startup, like especially a decentralized project. So it's like this weird hybrid mashup between being a nonprofit. This is how I always kind of describe a crypto decentralized project. It's kind of like a nonprofit, kind of like a co-op, and then you're a publicly traded company, basically. At the
Yeah.
same time, you're a global company. And you got all those things in the mix. And even as someone who's done a lot of startups and stuff, a lot of that stuff is new to me too.
Yeah,
And
it's funny with
challenging.
me. This is my first, time really in business and stuff, and so this is what I'm used to, and it's at such a nexus of all these different things that you were saying. And it's just really, and the thing with crypto, it evolves so fast. It's so easy to get left behind, and even if you don't pay attention for a few months. Hell, like I wasn't really paying attention this weekend because I was just, driving down here, and I felt like I missed so much over the weekend. So you always have to be on your toes in crypto.
Oh, and stuff is definitely changing. So you said when you first went to Everipedia, they weren't blockchain based?
No, we weren't. We were just a normal website. I'll give you a little bit of background on Everpedia, how Everpedia started. And actually,
Sure.
I'll go before that. So I don't know if your listeners know, but early on in Wikipedia's history, it was a lot more of an egalitarian site. They were a lot more open to, pages being made about different kinds of subjects. They definitely had exponential growth over those first 10 years. And you had two camps of editors develop. So you had your inclusionists, which believed, hey, everything can have a page. If it's a stub, it can be improved. And then you had your deletionists, which were like, no, we got to be restrictive. We have to have requirements. They wanted to be that kind of way. And so around 2010, the deletionists won out. And if you noticed, kind of their editors, capped off around 10K. Their pages capped off around 6 million. They had much slower growth in pages that were being included on Wikipedia. And so they became a lot more strict, and they had these notability requirements. And there was a lot of different complaints about their community and being toxic and all that. You can look all that up on Google. So there was definitely like an opportunity for an alternative to arise. And so that's really how Everpedia came about in 2015 as this more inclusionist, friendly, open-minded version of an encyclopedia, a new way to do knowledge. And Paul Graham said in 2010, there's room to do to Wikipedia what Wikipedia did to Encyclopedia Britannica. So I see Everpedia in that same element right there.
Well, it's interesting, and I am not an egotist, but I've done a lot of things in my life. I mean, I was even a congressional candidate back in 2010, and worked on a
Yeah.
lot of different projects.
You've
And
done
I could
so
never,
much stuff, honestly. Like you were telling me the other day, I owned a liquor store. I did that, this, and I'm like, whoa.
but I could never get a Wikipedia page. Like I was, and it was funny because I was never notable enough by their standard. Like
Exactly.
and it was
Yeah.
like, and not that I cared. Like it wasn't a big deal to me, but it was like to me though. It's like. And I've met a couple Wikipedia kind of editors, and they wield a tremendous amount of power over that
Oh yeah.
platform.
Yeah. No, they do. It's pretty absurd how much power like these unknown anonymous people have. And they're Wikipedia is one of the top 10 websites in the world.
Right. And so there's a lot of power in that. So you can change narratives with that.
Yeah.
You can control narratives with that. And then there's no accountability. And so to me, I've interacted with like, the founder of Wikipedia on social media over the years and stuff. And it's clear that there's a huge left-leaning bias, not only by the founders, but the editors.
Yeah. Oh,
And so to me, it's like, and again, it's not that big of a deal to me, but I do see that as a problem is that because they are such a powerful site.
yeah.
I mean, if you get a wiki page, that's one of the first, that's one of the first
The
pages that
SEO
comes
for
up.
that is one of the best. Yeah.
Right. And then a lot of the search engines also will do they'll do a little excerpt from Wikipedia. And so to me, it's like, it's what I just, it frustrates me. And me, we've talked a lot. I mean, I'm socially very tolerant and on some things very liberal, some things very conservative. I'm an independent minded guy. And it's like, but the conservative side of me goes, it's not right that they're basically stifling opinions they just don't like. And so, yeah, so that's what
Yeah,
excites
and
me
the
about.
way they frame certain people, and it's undeserved. And the problem is the people that are framed a certain way, they can't go in and change it because they're not allowed to edit their own page.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. I know, and I'm not going to say who it is, but I do know a crypto editor for Wikipedia, and he's about as left leaning as it can you come. And I'm like, one, why are you in crypto? Because to me, crypto seems like the whole nature of crypto, it seems a lot more libertarian to me. I
Yeah.
mean that at least that's where I think that whole cypherpunk past that drove a lot of this was very libertarian and cap kind of in that world. And then I've definitely seen, like, over the last 3-4 years, as crypto becomes really entrenched with the more Silicon Valley software world, that whole left-leaning thing is coming in and really kind of permeating. So anyways, it's not supposed to be a political thing, but telling stories can be political. So
Yeah.
Everpedia, how are you different from Wikipedia when it comes to that kind of notability and things of that nature?
Yeah, I like to think of Everpedia as the up and coming wiki in culture. So, what happened in 2010, between 2010 and now, you had a rise of influencers and YouTubers and all these people with, either millions of subscribers or hundreds of thousands of followers and whatnot. People are searching for these people, but there isn't a good scholarly wiki. Maybe, you'll get like a clickbaity like wiki page that's just for SEO, but you won't really like get a good quality page. And so that's where really Everpedia thrived. And for a long time, like that's where we got a lot of our traffic. We also imported all of Wikipedia as well. So, we had Wikipedia. So sometimes I like to think of Wikipedia as a supplement to Wikipedia in a way. And now recently, we've been really doing a push to focus on cryptocurrency and blockchain content. So how you were talking about Tusk with me the other day, and you want to focus on just the gun industry and really nail that vertical. Like we decided for the best way for us to grow is to focus on cryptocurrency content because that's where we seem to get, a lot of engagement on social media. That's where we get a lot of like new visitors to the site. That's how we attract a lot of new editors as well. And so that's where we're really focusing on right now. But I've always thought of us as, up and coming wiki and culture and still that.
So tell me about the economics.
Oh yeah, the token economics. So Everpedia runs on the IQ token, and I really consider that the skin in the game for Everpedia. So in order to create a page or edit the site, you have to put up IQ. That's the name of our token. So you put up 50 IQ. So let's say, Rob, you want to edit your own page. You see some mistakes. And so, you edit your page, you make your changes, you submit the IQ, and then there's a 12-hour voting period where people vote with their IQ tokens whether to approve an edit or reject an edit. If it's approved, then you actually get rewarded newly minted IQ tokens. If it's rejected, then those IQ tokens are locked for a period of time.
And are they traded somewhere?
Yes. So if you want to edit the site and get involved, and also we have Predict as well, which is our prediction market platform, which we can get into later. We're traded on Binance, we're traded on OKEx, we're traded on Bitfinex, Upbit in Korea. So we're on some pretty big exchanges if you want to get involved.
So where do you see the possibilities in the future? What does the roadmap look like for Everpedia?
So we're really doing a big DeFi push. We see that, in 2019, we actually launched our prediction market platform with Predict. I call it the Augur Vios. And people are like, oh, what does the prediction market have to do with, encyclopedia? I think, there are two sides to this same coin. Well, Everpedia, is historical knowledge and past knowledge, people using their knowledge to contribute to these pages that are, on the record. Predict is future knowledge and people using, that what they know to kind of anticipate future events and get rewarded if they're right. And so I see with our future push, we've been really building Predict out. It's a super clean platform, and then we want to add like a few new DeFi primitives and slowly evolve that out. So we're looking into oracles as well, having on-chain knowledge like that. All of this has to do with on-chain knowledge. So oracles, and then possibly having synthetic assets, leverage. We're trying to explore all these different things. We actually have a fund dedicated to funding these projects. So we have our IQ fund where we committed over $1 million worth of tokens to funding projects that have to do with everything I just said. So if any of your listeners are interested, they're welcome to reach out to us.
So you said that you're based on EOS then, is that correct?
Yes, yes, we're based on EOS.
Why did you choose the EOS blockchain?
Few reasons. One, at the time, to edit, the problem with Ethereum back in 2017, 2018, and still to this day, or the transaction, everybody that deals with Uniswap now knows like the transaction fees and, all the problems with their fees, transactions and whatnot, speed and fees and whatnot. And so if you were to make an edit and every time you had to pay like a few bucks to make an edit, that doesn't make economic sense. Well, EOS, it's, free transactions, and it just made much more sense for a consumer product like Everipedia to be built on EOS than it would be to be built on Ethereum. Ethereum isn't there yet for that kind of dApp. And also we just got support from within the EOS community. They're really excited about it, from, people that are EOS token holders to like people high up in the EOS VC world. So we actually raised $30 million from EOS VCs in 2018 from Galaxy Digital. They were super excited about the project. So between, the technical capabilities and the support we got, it just was only logical for us to build on EOS.
So right now, you mentioned that people can go through and vote on, whether or not to approve an edit or things like that. Is there a way that people can make money doing that kind of thing and participating on the platform?
Yeah, so the tokens are, they have a monetary value. So we have a few editors that are some power editors that have made, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of IQ tokens, especially if they held on to it over the past year. We've been live since 2018. And so, which is really cool. You think about all the blockchain projects back in 2017, 2018 that were just a white paper and just never launched a product. Like, we've been live, we've been, we've been through the storm in the valley of the bear market. And, now we're just attracting more editors. There's just people like that want to get involved.
And that's really fun. I like the platforms that I see now that are starting to evolve, like Everipedia and Library and some of these, hives, where in Brave browser. And to me personally, other than what I'm doing with Tusk, those apps right now to me are the shining stars in crypto.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more.
And the market, I don't believe, is fully appropriately valuating those projects that are valuing those projects yet. I think that'll come. But to me, I see that as the future. And the fact that you have users and you have a product and you have sustainable built-in economics on the platform, that to me is a winning combination. And I hope that with our own Project Tusk that we get to that point. We're definitely working on that, but I really like what you guys are doing with your tokenomics. And I think that that's going to be the future. And I think ultimately projects like Everipedia are going to be major blockchains and major projects. I would expect that you'll be in the top 20 next year or the next couple of years. No doubt about that in my mind.
I honestly think the same way. Between what we have built, the killer team that we have, like, we wouldn't have be able to go on this far if we didn't have just, such a great team all around, that everybody's just so committed to the project and development. And you mentioned Brave browser before. I would love to talk about our partnership with them. It actually fits really well with our ethos. So how I was saying, like, we really fit well with pages, that are not notable enough for Wikipedia, but these people still need to be recognized. And so with Brave browser, we have this partnership. One part of it is we have our Brave Creator of the Day. And so, Brave browser has all these different, hundreds of thousands of people signed up accepting Brave tips. But a lot of people in the BAT community don't know who to tip. They don't know where to start to find people to support. And so with our Brave Creator of the Day, we provide that. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we'll tweet out a Brave Creator of the Day. And, we get tons of streamers as our Brave Creator of the Day. We get, analysts, we get all kinds of different people to become our Brave Creator of the Day. And it's got, the Brave community really likes it, the BAT community. They're always hyped when they see somebody on Reddit, like, oh, this is somebody new that we can support. So, the Brave team has really liked it. It's been really beneficial for us so far, beneficial to them as well. They really see it as a tool to help, promote their community within their community. And with us, we've been able to, get free advertisements on Brave browser. And so we've been able to recruit editors that way as well.
Perfect. It's really good stuff. And I'm glad to see somebody really taking charge in this space. David, where can people find out more about you and Everipedia?
Yeah, so you can find out about me. I'm on Twitter at at Dave said that _ on Instagram at Dave doing things _ for Everipedia, you can go at Everipedia on Twitter. Definitely join our group at Everipedia. And come say hi. We're always looking for new people. We're a very welcoming community. Make a page for yourself. Make a page for somebody you look up to. We're here.
David, thank you so much for coming on and spending time with me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Hey, this is Rob McNealy here. I will have all of David's socials and all those links up at robmcnealy.com. Make sure you mash that subscribe button, review us on iTunes, let your friends know how great we are. We really appreciate it.
5 stars.
Let them know. All right, guys, you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Rob McNealy program. Make sure you check us out on the web at robmcnealy.com and subscribe to our podcast at YouTube, iTunes, and on the Google Play Store.